Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of Weird News and Wacky History, a look behind the scenes at what's been happening through the years. I'm your host, Pastor Roland Moss, the old history guy. There's many a tale of life on the open roads, as we'll discover today in Hitting the Highway. There's an old joke: there's only two seasons in the U.S., winter and construction. And while it's frustrating being stopped by a bored-looking flagger guarding one end of a seemingly endless single-lane road, you may just want to count your blessings for the quality of our nation's highway system. Just consider the alternative. Running barely 40 miles from Corroquio in the Amazon rainforest to La Paz, Bolivia, the north youngest road is nicknamed El Camino de la Muerte. And yes, that does mean the road of death. In 1995, the Inter-American Development Bank officially named this terrifying stretch of highway as the world's most dangerous road. On average, 200 to 300 people die in this killer road every year. So dreaded is this unpaved stretch that locals give offerings to the Bolivian goddess Pachamama before driving it. In spite of the two-way traffic, there are places where it's only 10 feet wide. Carved into the side of rugged mountains, the drop-off varies between 20 and 3,000 feet. With no guardrails, descending traffic yields to ascending vehicles, and when passing, cars drive on the left side so that you have an unhindered view of the abyss when your wheels slip over the edge. Construction delays may not be that bad after all. Keeping America's roadways nice does have its challenges, though. Ever since Adopt a Highway began in 1985, it's done a lot to beautify America by involving civic-minded volunteers in picking up trash along designated stretches of highway. In return, the state erects a nice sign recognizing the efforts of the organization. Then the Ku Klux Klan signed up to sponsor a stretch of road in Missouri in 1994. The Show Me State's Department of Transportation quietly declined, claiming they'd be using federal funds to further or subsidize racial discrimination. Claiming discrimination themselves, the KKK took Missouri to court. Sure enough, in March of 2000, the Eighth Court Circuit of Appeals agreed with the Klansmen, and signs acknowledging the white supremacist organization went up along a stretch of I-55. The Klan's delight over the decision proved short-lived, however. First, the Missouri state legislature named that particular stretch of interstate the Rosa Park Highway, in honor of the black civil rights pioneer who refused to give up her bus seat to a white man in 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama. Then the Klansmen got booted from the program despite the court ruling. They'd been so busy fighting for their rights that they'd never bothered to pick up a single piece of trash, violating Adopt a Highway rules. And while on Route 66, slow down and enjoy the song of the open road. First, you go through St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri. Oklahoma City looks oh so pretty. You'll see Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Winona, Kingsman, Barstow, San Bernardino. Route 66, the Mother Road. It's always been on my bucket list to drive at least some of this iconic highway that's provided enjoyment and hope for so many throughout the years, especially the part that plays America the Beautiful. In 2014, the New Mexico Department of Transportation joined forces with National Geographic in an effort to help people slow down when driving. Known as crowd control, they chose for their project a particularly desolate 490-foot stretch of the road between Albuquerque and Tierras. There they pressed precisely engineered templates into the road's surface while it was still wet. Similar to the rumble strips that keep you in your lane, they vibrate your car tires at a certain frequency per second. A is always 440, whether on a piano, a violin, or your car tires. So when you drive the speed limit of 45 miles per hour, you'll hit 440 grooves per second, producing the note A. One of only two musical roads in the nation, it presents an unusual way to get motorists' attention. Talk about the song of the open road. And speaking of music to drive by, country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. Just the words are enough to conjure up the sound of the guitar and the voice. Released in April of 1971, by August the song had shot to number 2 on the U.S. Hot 100 singles chart. So popular was it that on March 7, 2014, it was officially approved by West Virginia's state legislature as the 4th official Mountain State state song. Not bad for 3 writers who'd never ever visited West Virginia. Husband and wife team Bill Danoff and Taffy Neverett were on a Maryland rural road, heading to a Neverett family get-together. While she drove, he idly strummed the guitar. I just started thinking country roads. I started thinking of me growing up in western New England and going on all these small roads. Danoff briefly considered using Massachusetts instead of West Virginia for the lyrics, but thoughts of mountaineer acquaintances swung the lyrics back south of the Mason-Dixon line. Denver later helped them hammer out the words in the bridge, staying up until 6 o'clock in the morning. Originally planned for Johnny Cash, Denver, Danvers, and Niverett performed it that evening. And the rest is history. And that's all the time we have for this edition of Weird News and Wacky History, a look behind the scenes of what's been happening through the years. I'm your host, Pastor Roland Moss, that old history guy, hoping that all of your history may be just a little bit weird.